As I'm filming this, QQQ is sitting at $640.6 a unit. My average cost across everything I've bought is $492. That is a $148 gap across nearly 19 units. It's 4 years of just not stopping, no timing the market, no watching charts, just buying every month through a crash, a recovery, and 3 more years of staying the course. I want to show you the whole journey, what each year actually returned, what my personalized annualized return looks like, and why it tells a different story than you would expect. The 2 times I sold and got it wrong, and the honest answer to the question everyone asks, would lump sum have beaten this? This is a real account, real numbers, real mistakes included. Before I show you my portfolio, I want to tell you guys a little bit more about myself. I work in the IT field in Singapore. I am not a financial advisor. I've made many mistakes, such as investing in shady altcoins in crypto, but I finally landed on the most boring but smart investment strategy, which is to invest in the index fund every single month. Everything you guys are about to see is from my official investment statements. And one thing that I was doing throughout these almost 4 years was to invest in both QQQ and S&P 500. Before you judge me on why my investment numbers are pretty low, it's because I was splitting my investments in 2 different indexes. This is my journey throughout investing, and I started in 2022. And I started my first full-time job. In 2022, QQQ fell 33% that year. I started buying in July right in the middle of the fall. I deployed $482 across 9 purchases. By year end, I was down on paper. It did not feel like an opportunity. It felt like watching a number go down every week and buying it anyway because it was part of the dollar cost averaging plan. In 2023, the index came back 54% up. It was hard and fast because I had been buying all throughout 2022. I was holding units with real gains by mid-year. I put 1,232 into QQQ that year, which might look low, but as I mentioned, I was also putting money in the VOO S&P 500 index. In 2024, QQQ returned 26%. I deployed $1,762. Just consistent DCA, pure discipline, just showing up every month. In 2025, the index returned around 20%. Another solid year on top of the 2 before it. I put $3,222, which is nearly double of what I put in 2024. The monthly amounts were growing as my income grew and my conviction in the strategy was building. In 2026 year to date, QQQ is up about 4% since Jan as I'm filming this. And in Jan, I made a strategic call. I stopped buying VOO entirely. I realized there was a big overlap between QQQ and S&P 500. So I decided to pick one and sell the other. I went with QQQ. The result in just 3 months, Jan to March in 2026, I deployed $2,802 into QQQ, nearly as much as all of 2024. Monthly pace went from $150 close to $960 per month. To put that in perspective, 2022, 2023, and 2024 combined, I put about $3,600 in total. In the first 3 months of 2026 alone, I put $2,900. That is income growth and conviction working together. Let's talk about the mistake that I made throughout my investing journey, which is to sell. I sold 2 times. The first time was in 2022. I bought a small position. I watched it tick up a few weeks later, and I sold it for a few dollars of profit. At today's price of $640, those units would be worth about $45. I sold them just for a few bucks of profit. Second time was in 2023. I sold a larger chunk and received about $395 in proceeds. I felt like I was locking in a win at the right moment. Those units at $640 today would be worth $704. I left $309 on the table. Both the sales were profitable at that time. Both were wrong long term. The lesson with a broad index ETF: selling to capture a short-term gain almost always means giving up something bigger. The only reason to sell is if your strategy has fundamentally changed, not because the price moved. I haven't sold a single unit since that second mistake. Now let's talk about the actual returns and what it looks like. QQQ went from around $313 when I first bought in July 2022 to $640.6 today. A price increase about 105% in 3.7 years. This works out to be roughly 21% per year. So if you had bought QQQ in July 2022 and held without doing anything else, you would have compounded at about 21% a year. And now my personal result is different. I didn't put all of my money on day one. I drifted in in over 4 years, small amounts early and bigger amounts later. So my average cost ended up at around $492 per unit, not $313. That means I did not fully capture the return of someone who went all in at the bottom. My total gain on the position right now is $2,796 on $9,263 net invested, a total return of 30%, which works at roughly 7.3% per year on the capital I deployed. That is going to look low next to QQQ's 21%, and that is the honest reality of DCA. You're never fully invested from day one, so you never fully capture the assets return. The trade-off is that you also never have to nail a lump sum entry, which brings me to the question everyone is asking. Would lump sum have beaten DCA? Here's the honest math. I deployed $9,681 in QQQ over 4 years. If I had taken all of that on my very first purchase date in July 2022 and gone all in at once, I would have bought 31 units at $640 today. That position would be worth roughly $19,810. My DCA result was only $12,042. Lump sum wins by $7,800. I'm going to be straight with you. Lump sum wins in that scenario. The data generally shows that if you have the full amount available and if you invest immediately, it outperforms DCA about 2/3 of the time because market trend upward. And every day your money is not invested is a day that it's not compounding. But here's why that comparison is not as clean as it looks. Firstly, I did not have the $9,681 sitting in cash in July 2022. Most people don't have their full future investing budget available on day one. DCA is not a choice between two strategies. For most people, it is the only strategy available because money comes in monthly as salary. Secondly, July 2022 was a great entry point in hindsight. Nobody knew that at that time, lump sum only wins when the timing is right, and nobody reliably knows when the timing is right. DCA removes timing from the equation entirely. And for someone earning a monthly salary, it is also the only realistic option. In summary, across the 4 years, I've made 2 mistakes and I had 1 solid strategy and a 30% total return. Lump sum would have made more money if my timing was perfect. But perfect timing is not a strategy. What I had was a plan, and the plan just required me to not stop. If you want to start your own investing journey, I've left affiliate links in the description to the platforms I actually use. Full transparency, some of these links do support the channel at no extra cost to you. Everything I showed you today is just the QQQ side of the story. I ran a 50-50 split with the S&P 500 for 2 years. So there is a whole separate journey on that side too. Same format, real numbers, real mistakes. That video is coming soon. Subscribe so you don't miss that. And if this video helped you think about your own investing differently, share it with one person who needs to hear it. That is genuinely the best way to support the channel. Drop in the comments if you are DCAing, sitting on a lump sum, or still figuring out where to start. I read every single one of the comments.